Okay, yes, recording. We are doing a one and done video today, me chatting to you. Hi, let's get into it. Sensitivity. It is the holidays. Everything feels heightened during the holidays, especially our sensitivity, and especially with our families, with our loved ones. Yeah, there's a reason why there are so many great Christmas movies that involve total chaos with family, right? We're all really sensitive, so me included. So today we're going to talk about sensitivity, about being sensitive, about protecting our sensitivity, about honoring it, about supporting it, right? So I never do intros anymore, but hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm the person talking to you. I am a very creative person. I write, I make films, I paint, I make little videos on here sometimes. I gotta get better about it. Yeah, I have lived off of my creativity. My creativity, my sensitivity, that too, right? They go hand in hand. They're linked together. I don't have a choice about being very sensitive. I know that I would be categorized as a highly sensitive person, HSP, if you relate. Hi, you're in the clubhouse. We're in the clubhouse together. I have been sensitive my entire life. Everything has hurt my entire life. I have cried easily, clothes itch me, too many sounds. Being in cities is really hard physically. I get drained by people. The list goes on. Highly sensitive. And if you are drawn to this video, if you are drawn to clicking on it and watching it, I'm guessing that you are too. So I'm going to talk to you like you're a fellow sensitive person. I saw a really interesting video, just like a little like a YouTube short the other day, to the writer, speaker, thinker, I almost said thought leader, but whatever, Teal Swan, if you know Teal Swan. And she was talking, and I'm going to link it below so that you have it. But she was talking about this idea that being more sensitive now is actually evolutionary in our humanity. So, and certainly many of us have noticed this, right? With like the new generations coming in are ultra sensitive, and that we get irritated by that, right? That they're so sensitive. But it actually makes sense, and Teal Swan talks about this idea that that we are getting more and more sensitive people in the world because insensitivity has been ruining the world. And that idea hit me square in the forehead, and I was like, that makes total sense, and it lines up with what I'm seeing in people and what we're seeing in terms of the bile coming up in our society, with current politics and the current administration and the current obsession with masculinity and not being sensitive and not being a snowflake, etc. When in fact our human strength has always come from those moments when we're able to tap into our compassion, our sensitivity for other people, to put ourselves into other people's shoes. That has enacted so much change, right? So it makes sense that our sensitivity is very important. And I think that's a really key thing to keep in mind if you're a really sensitive person, that your sensitivity is part of human evolution, that you are part of positive change if you're a really sensitive person. Or you can choose to be a part of really positive change in this world. So a big part of, I've talked about healing, going through healing on here. It's taken many forms. But I've noticed over the years that the more healing work I've done in terms of therapy, journaling, shadow work, internal family systems, whatever, what have you, what I have noticed in myself, and it's picked up lately and I've had to remind myself, is that the more that I heal and take care of myself, the more, actually the more sensitive I become. Which is funny because that was not what I not what I initially wanted to happen as I started going into healing. I always saw myself as being too sensitive and as that being a problem, as that being a sign that I couldn't handle anything, that I was always collapsing in life, not as a sign that that I was very perceptive and I saw people's pain really easily and that I took it in as my own. I didn't see that as a good thing. I saw that as something to get rid of. And yet, the more that I have healed and recognized my own needs and gone through my family history and trauma, etc., the more sensitive I've become. And so instead of pushing it down more, I've created safety in myself to bring it up more and to be able to see it more. And this is something that we hear a lot, but sensitivity is a superpower. If you're a creative person, you know this. You know that the more sensitive you are, the more that you can bring that into your creative work, the better it is. Like the more touching it is, the more that you reach people on more profound levels. If you can make them cry, if you can make them laugh, right? Comedy also is very tuned in. When it's really good comedy, it's really tuned into humans. And it's like when someone says something so embarrassing that it's true, that it just makes you laugh, right? That sensitivity works so well for art. I've also found it for me, and we see this in good leaders and strong leaders, but for me, I did not think that being sensitive would help me as a director, but it really has. The ability to see the sensitivity in actors, to see who needs more coaxing in their performance, who needs to be left alone a little bit more in their performance, to be able to read people, to be able to get difficult personalities to work with each other. Sensitivity is so important for that, right? Deconstructing living and mindset work and being able to reframe ways of seeing the world, that has been essential for me. It's essential for me as a sensitive human, as a person who is healing, as a writer, as an artist in general. The ability to shift your own focus and study the way that the human brain works. I gotta tell you, I would have never found the tenacity to keep studying my own mind and just the human mind in general if I didn't have the extreme pain of not understanding my own brain and not understanding my own depression, anxiety, everything. It's the sensitivity that has kind of driven me to keep working, to keep figuring things out. And then just big art, which is not the same thing as art in general, but I am noticing for myself in writing a novel, which I'm doing right now, it is a lot to hold. It's a lot of perspectives to hold. Same thing with playwriting, same thing with screenwriting, filmmaking. I know there was some good quote that Aaron Sorkin said, and I don't remember it, but it was something about you want, when you've got characters writing, it's not about one being right versus the other one. It's that they're both right, and that makes it interesting, and that capacity to see others' points of view and to put them all together like a puzzle. Sensitivity is so helpful for that. That's why books are so important, right? They put us into other people's shoes, and they make us more sensitive to other people's perspectives. It's so important in our time right now that we're living in right now that we're able to put ourselves into the shoes of other people who look different than us, who have different religions than us, who have different sexual orientations, different lifestyles, whatever. If you can put yourselves into their shoes and say, I can imagine some aspect of that being similar to my life. Okay, I want them to have a good life too. That's sensitivity, right? It's very necessary for our progress as human beings to be very sensitive. So what does this have to do with the holidays and being around family? For one thing, of course, our families are all very different. Often we don't, I would bet that you are not a clone of your family members that you see during the holidays. I would bet that you're very different. I would also bet that some of those people at your holiday dinner are people that in real life you wouldn't really, it's wobbly, wouldn't really want to hang out with in real life, but because you're family, you love each other, right? I often think that about family. It's like, I don't think we'd be friends in real life, but I do love this person. I do care about them. But yeah, I've been really pushed up against my family this fall in ways I did not anticipate, didn't expect. I actually anticipated a really big reprieve this fall, and instead, as some of you know from my other videos, it's been a ton of caretaking. My brother's hobbling around the house. He broke his leg. It was a really, really terrible situation. So it's good he's here, but it's hard. It's hard to be up close to family. And I'm going to be really up close to my family for a few days, like over Christmas. We're all going together to Michigan in one car. So, whew. Staying with my sister and her 10-month-old. Yeah, 10-month-old. So it's going to be like all of these techniques that I'm going to share with you are things that I'm going to be using myself. And I thought, why not talk to you about it? I know I'm not the only one, right? So, what helps me handle my sensitivity? Because I've been studying it this fall while dealing with my family, and like, you know, the things where you like just like burst into tears over nothing and you're like, where the hell did that come from? Like, why is this hurting so much? Sensitivity is back, right? It creeps up when you're in tough situations. So what helps me handle my... All right, speak of the goddamn devil, my brother just texted me while I was filming this, so I have to edit it together. It's okay, we can do this. What helps me handle my sensitivity and my rage? Compassion. I'm sorry, I have to laugh at myself recording this. Compassion and grace deeply help me handle my sensitivity. This happened to me as a sensitive child. I know it's happened to you if you were a sensitive child. A lot of people act like sensitivity is it's a pain in the ass, like it's inconvenient for them. Unfortunately, a lot of us had parents who were just stressed, and then if you were a sensitive child on top of that, they were like, God damn, it's like one more thing on top of everything. And so it's not, people aren't always being terrible to us to blow us off, but as children, there's like a vestigial pain inside of us as adults that remembers the feeling of being ignored when we were sad, being dismissed in our emotions, having our anger denied, even having our joy being told it's irritating. And that all comes up, especially when you're around your family, right? This feeling of like, no one listens to me, no one sees me, no one hears me, or they don't really like the real me. You know, all these feelings that come up when we're around our families. And for me, what really helps is to see myself as that child when like the fit starts to rise up inside of me. It's like, of course you feel that way. Of course you're burnt out. Of course you're crying over nothing. You're with your family. You're going crazy. Like they have the exact triggers and they don't even know it. They're not even aware of it. Anyway, more texting. Anyway, what else has helped me with sensitivity is not pushing it down. I've come to this conclusion over the years, but I rewrote it in my journal recently. This idea that like, this isn't going away. My sensitivity is never going away. Your sensitivity is never going away. It is not something that you can push down. It is not something that you can ignore. It's something that you have to work with. It's something that you work with as if it is as if it's an actual object in your life. Like, that's how I imagine it. It's like this actual block that's in my life, not a bad block, but just there. It's like a building block. And I do things around it and I work with it and it's there. And that's my sensitivity. It's just there and it has to be treated very, very well. I can't push it away. That would be pushing my entire self away. My sensitivity is a core part of who I am. It's a core part of how I live, about how I see, about how my senses work, my physical body. Sensitivity is me. So what works for me then is creating really strong boundaries around it. And in all honesty, I'm still learning this. I'm still learning how to have good boundaries. I literally just bought, that's over there. I bought, what's it called? Set Boundaries, Find Peace. I bought that book a couple weeks ago because I was like, I'm gonna pull all my hair out around my family. And we're not taught this, right? We're not taught how to have boundaries. We're not taught how to, like, maybe you were, but from what I can tell, most people weren't. So we're not alone in this. But most of us are not taught how to say, like, no, I don't want to do that. And then when the person gets upset or has a hissy fit, you say, okay, you can have that hissy fit, but I'm not able to do that. You know, imagine having such good, strong, healthy boundaries. But again, we are not necessarily taught this, so it's up to us to educate ourselves, to find resources, to find examples of other people who are really good at it. Like if you see a really good scene in a movie or a show where someone sets a boundary in a way that helps you, remember that. Like, see how they handle it, see how they process it, see how they speak and hold themselves. It's really helpful. And then also really helpful for me is honestly like grieving that people don't get it. Like grieving that people don't get how sensitive you are, grieving that people don't like it, grieving that you need to hide how sensitive you are in order to function as a human being with other humans. There is a grief around that. But again, those are all boundaries that you can have too. You know, I have some really sensitive people in my life that continually like try to be as sensitive as they are around unsafe people, and it's like, what are you doing? like having a boundary, you know, gray rocking to some degree. I know that's a technique that people use with narcissists, but just like, you know, holding back in a healthy way that keeps your own peace is such a great boundary to have. It's okay. You're not being fake if you're protecting yourself and just kind of like going through the motions a little bit. You know, there are times, of course, when it's great for us to disrupt the world and to change things. But if it's going to like drain you every fucking day for you to just be like, I'm being the most me possible and you all can deal with it, and then it just drains your whole body, kills you, like it's not worth it. Maybe you relate. I've gone through periods where I've been like, I want to be more myself. And I think that the way that has helped me as an extremely sensitive person is to look around at the environment and say, do I feel good here? Do I feel like these people get to come into my inner world? Are they safe? Are they cool? Are they kind? A big one for me is when I can tell that someone has the vibe that they're going to treat me like I'm weird, or they're going to call me weird, or they're going to act like, that's unusual. You know, and if you're a creative person and you talk to like really businessy men and women, where they're kind of like, interesting, why would you do that? Those aren't your people. And it's like, you can create a boundary against those people. Like you don't have to open up your heart to everyone. Remember, you're sensitive. This big block of sensitivity isn't going to go away if you protect it. If anything, it's going to be healthier and stronger if you make sure that you're good. And that you're sharing with the right people, with the people who really get it. So it's been also important for me to really educate myself and help myself find techniques. So again, like doing boundary work, but also like boundary work and also learning how to express anger well. You know, I'm someone who, because I was so sensitive as a child, I could see that whenever I was angry, it was a problem for people, so I shut it down really quickly. Well, as an adult, shutting down my anger has led to actual physical pain in my body, and it has led to like random blow-ups where I get way angry, out of proportion angry in a way that isn't helpful, doesn't like make things more peaceful, doesn't lead to a better compromise between two parties. Like it just doesn't help. So for me, it's been really helpful to learn how to process my anger, how to process my emotions. And also to study, like it's been helpful for me to study how emotions show up in my body. And that's an ongoing study that you've probably seen me talk about on here, with chronic pain in my back and more recently in my wrist and in my hands and up my arms with tendonitis, all that stuff. But yeah, I already talked about, like for me, it's really important the environment that I'm in. So in terms of friends, I really only truly open up around people who are very sensitive also, but sensitive like me, but who have the healthy pairing of emotional maturity. If they are also in pursuit of like taking care of themselves, of owning their side of the street and showing up as emotional adults. I mean, yes, we're all learning this probably much later in our lives than we wanted to, but whenever I find really creative, sensitive, fun, emotionally mature people who really want to like figure this out and have good relationships, I mean, like I'm over the moon. I feel myself open up in safety and being like that feeling of, these are my people, I'm safe around you, right? There's room for my sensitivity here. I can totally be myself. And in all honesty, like I've really connected with some of you in this way, just this feeling of like, it's safe to be this sensitive. It's safe for me to create a YouTube video that's talking about sensitivity. I feel like I'm ever so slowly connecting with fellow like-minded sensitive people, and it's a real joy. And I just want to thank you for being kind and lovely. And I get random little DMs, and it's really great. So I love it. Right? We can create the world that we need together. So I think that that's really cool. And then the last thing that really helps me with handling my sensitivity, especially around family, especially during heightened seasons like the holidays, is I am very, very conscious of making sure that I'm having a good time. And that does not necessarily mean that I'm having a good time with my family. God, like I have to tell you, like it seems like my family is hell by the way I'm talking about them. They're wonderful, they're lovely, they just drive me nuts, and I want to kill them sometimes. But do you not relate? Do you not relate? But it really helps me to tap into joy, to know that there is a reservoir for me in my private world. I actually just I just treated myself, because it's my birthday actually in a couple weeks as of this recording, couple days as of this recording. I treated myself to Pimsleur. Do you know Pimsleur? It's for language learning. I studied French when I was in high school and college, and in Paris like for like a month, and then Italian just for 6 weeks. I was in Italy. This is all like in the middle of my college experience, which I was really lucky to have. But that was when I was like 21 years old, and I have not had any language classes since then. And just randomly, I was like, I saw another girl on Substack talking about Pimsleur and language classes, and I was like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, I do not have a current passport. I actually have to get like a different like driver's license in order to get a passport now, apparently. I do not have the money to like go fly to Europe, but like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm learning Italian right now. So like, I have this secret joy space in my life where I am learning Italian, where I am studying for a future that has not been created yet. And it gives me this like extra oomph, this extra power, this feeling of like, yes, like I'm planning for something beautiful. And I also get that from, of course, reading novels, from working on my own novel, from painting, from baking, from doing so many creative things. I give myself my own reservoir of joy. Like, I drink from that. I don't rely on other people to give that to me. I give it to myself, and all I have to do is step away and give that to myself. And I end up then showing up with my family, with other people, with so much more joy, so much more strength, so much more happiness, energy, willingness to engage, interest in other people, right when my well is full. We know this, right? We fill our own wells so that we can really work well with other people. But it's essential to me. It's not like a little hippie phrase. It's, if I do not honor my sensitivity, this big thing in the center of my life, there's a garage door. If I do not honor it, I struggle tremendously. And if I don't honor it, I struggle tremendously. And if I, see, I'm not editing this. And if I do honor it, my world lights up. I am so happy, and I am the best version of myself. When my sensitivity is honored, there's the fucking garage door. When my sensitivity is honored, like the lights go on. It's like the Christmas lights go on. The Christmas tree is lit up. I'm there. And it only comes if I'm sensitive. And this is my favorite tarot card. 17. My birthday is December 17th. The star. I thought I'd leave you with that. Saw it on my desk. Anyway, I gotta go. People are home. Things keep moving. It's the holidays. That's the way it is. Thank you for being here. Take care of your beautiful, sensitive soul, and I'll see you later. Bye.